right?
Sorry, I just imagined like that one guy, like he's just trying to get pumped ready for his squat, like his PR, and like he's mid squat.
Sorry,
and someone just...
You're listening to the Big Drill. Okay, here we are. We are live on the Big
Drill, the very big drill, and it's been a while, but we are back. We're back. Unforeseen circumstances. What those circumstances?
Tell me about those quickly. What do you mean? Oh, why? What's the unforeseen circumstance?
It's to do with you, Will.
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
I thought it was your job change.
No,
fair enough. Okay.
No, it's all good. But today, Will, tell us, please, the topic of today.
Well, a couple of things have caught my attention during the... It's French for attention.
I'm sure a lot of things.
There's a lot of things do catch my attention, but there's been recently, it seems to be like an influx in like technology being used in the gym. When I say technology, I quite specifically mean phones.
Not the person bringing a whole laptop.
Well, I actually have seen that as well.
Me too.
To be fair, the whole kind of laptop setting things up and running some sort of class off your laptop out of a gym. It has been seen on a couple of occasions, which is quite perplexing to say the least. But nevertheless, yes. Something's obviously that there's been a couple of things recently actually which have hit like social media as well, which has been about people and you can probably fill me in a little bit more on this. I've seen a couple of things, but I know that you brought up one just a little while ago about someone live stream, because you're a Twitch fan, aren't you?
I'm a Twitch streamer.
You're a Twitch streamer, so you know about that. And there was actually someone who was twitching and had been twitching.
Okay, we don't.
Twitching?
That's not a term.
We
just say streaming. That's it. We don't say they were twitching.
Sorry.
That's the first time I've heard that, but okay. Yeah.
I'm new to all this.
Twitch streaming. Yes.
In the gym.
In the gym.
There was a problem. Tell me about this problem. I'm pretty much losing my shit.
I don't even know how to pronounce her name properly, but she's a huge streamer and doing very well, very successful. I think her name's Amaranth, something like that. I don't really watch her myself, but I know she's a big streamer. And she got into a bit of a dispute in the gym because she was live streaming her stretching session. And she was denying that she was recording, even though she was live and streaming. And the issue the gym had was that she was doing it in front of a mirror, so that you could actually, the people watching the stream could see everything in the background because of the mirror.
Sure.
And that was the issue, but I don't know. The entire altercation ended up being her being kicked out, basically.
Well, I mean, I've got several issues with this.
Tell me then. Because she's just trying to make some money, put food on the table.
Well, I'm sure she is trying to put food on the table, amongst other things. But basically, the problem that I have with the idea of recording something in a gym is basically, so I'm just moving this microphone, is basically you're actually encroaching on other people's privacy. Now, okay, so we're in a public place, or kind of, I guess, public-private place, depends on what gym you're in, but ultimately you are there for a reason to exercise, to improve your mental health, to get stronger, to get fitter, all of these things which are really positive. But arguably, it's actually quite an environment that can be quite overwhelming, that can be quite daunting, yeah. And for a lot, I coach, over the years I've coached many different types of people, but one thread of continuity is that, generally speaking, people want to become a little bit more confident, you know, feel a bit more secure, a little bit more just kind of like altogether better off in their mental well-being, right? And you know, don't get me wrong, I don't think that there isn't a place for technology within fitness. I absolutely do, but I think the unnecessary use of filming yourself in a gym is becoming a little bit ridiculous. You know, I get reasons why people would want to do it. Say, for example, and this is a completely valid reason. So for anyone that's listening who does film themselves in a gym, and I know a contingency of those that do, and they're generally like the powerlifters or the CrossFitters, which are filming their technique, or filming for proof of a lift, you know, to assess how they've exercised that particular like move that they've done, deadlift, whatever. And I get that, and that's fine.
So you're saying that's okay?
I'm saying that has an objective which is understandable. And
what about personal trainers recording their clients?
So now we go into like the realms of, I guess, marketing to a certain degree, where if a personal trainer is trying to, I'll give you an example. So I've just been training a client who is heading off to, well, he's actually skiing now. And so for a lead-in time, we were like doing loads of pretty cool stuff, like on Bosu balls, catching, twisting, turning, shifting weight onto one leg and off the other leg, just because it gets you sharp for skiing, you know, gets you ready at least a little bit for getting back on the mountains. And I'll be doing that. I'm going skiing in March, so I'll be doing that training myself, and it's quite good. It's quite fun, you know. It's different. It's different, and I think that to show that on a platform, whether it be, you know, Instagram or Facebook or whatever, you know, or twitching.
Not twitching.
Twitch, streaming on Twitch.
Not twitching in the gym.
Streaming on Twitch.
Yes.
Twitching on stream.
It's a tongue twister.
It is, isn't it?
Okay. My question now is, okay, so you're doing it for marketing. What's the end goal from recording your clients and putting it on your platform?
I mean, you can have like a for technique, to show, to educate, and you can also, you know, use it to kind of, if, say for example, there's a couple of people that are like looking at potentially getting a trainer, and then, oh, this person has a repertoire of skills.
So would you say the end goal is to grow
from
the personal trainer's perspective?
Grow their business.
Fine.
Yeah, grow their business.
Okay.
Also support their client with like being able to visually show them what they're doing.
Okay.
Which is so there's value, but I'm an advocator of that. I really am an advocator of that. But what I'm not an advocator of is capturing 5 or 6 people in that particular video.
Okay.
Which, quite frankly, don't want to be captured, or probably don't want to be captured. You know, they could be absolutely, you know, blowing out their ass. They've just done some sort of WOD or some sort of, you know, intensity of training, and they're like sweating, they're knackered. They're in a gym where
they're not looking their perfect selves.
They're not looking like they're ready to go out on the town or whatever.
Yes. So would I be right in saying that where you draw the line is record, no problem, just don't include anyone else in your recordings?
For sure, but also have an objective. You know, don't just be, you know, what's the reason you're doing it? Don't just be like, some people just do that shit for likes, don't they? You know, it's just like, oh, I'm going to film this.
Well, that's their objective.
There's no reason. It's just to like put it on there to like go, look at me.
Well, you can argue that is the objective.
Well, they're looking for external validation, right? That's what they're doing. You know, if you're looking for external validation of what you're doing, or I'm in the gym, look at me, or you know, I've seen people literally like walking around on a call, put the phone down in the machine or down by thing, then carry on doing their set while someone's watching them, which quite frankly is not really acceptable,
because people are in the background.
Yeah. And I've got a contingency of people that I coach online, which involves me having to watch them with the technique that they're doing. But a lot of it's also, kind of like communication and touching base with how they are, and like more of a life coaching approach as well. But ultimately there is me needing to, in some cases, watch them, single leg deadlift technique or whatever. It could be any exercise, just to like kind of touch base on it. And I'm always really, really conscientious about me being able to see someone else other than them in the screen that's being projected to me. Not unless I cut mine out so they can't necessarily see me if I'm in the gym. So I just think it's a little bit more private. They can hear me, but they can't see me. But with regards to me, what I can see, I'm always like, look, can you find a space which is up against a wall or in a corner? They often have a list of equipment that we're going to be doing that session, so they can kind of like scurry around and bring everything they need. Occasionally you have to pop off and get something else, but they're positioned in such a way that it is out the way and it is in the corner and it isn't encroaching or me being able to see other people in the gym, because it's not really, people don't want to be subjected to that, because it can cause them to have, a little bit of insecurity about it. And if they don't want it, then they at least should have the option for it not to happen.
Okay, well, the first thing that comes to mind is how would one regulate this? Because, okay, you're doing great work in ensuring that, and I'm sure there's a blip here and there, you can't get it perfect. Someone might, come and ask a question or whatever and accidentally get in a shot.
Yeah, sure. That does happen.
But at least you're limiting it as best you can. But not everyone is as great and accommodating as you will. So
I know that.
How would you regulate it in terms of, okay, so you're doing it, but this person doesn't really care, but is also doing it? How would someone be able to approach and go, actually, you're allowed, Will, but you're not allowed? Well, I can see that can cause some issues.
I just think that there needs to be clarity. So I think especially like big gyms, like corporate gyms, such as Pure Gym, who I base my business out of, some of my business out of that, Fitness First, or that, even down to like the smaller ones. But I have to have like on my coaching agreement, I have a GDPR section which basically talks through quite succinctly what I would like to be able to do with images or short video clips or testimonials that are taken of my clients. They go on my website, on my Instagram, Facebook.
Like you said, they've agreed,
and at any point they can withdraw that that permission that they've given and say, I don't want you to do that. Which obviously you completely and utterly acknowledge. But not being able to have a choice whether you end up on the back. I mean, I wasn't bothered about this because it was actually a pretty good set of walking lunges, but I was caught on the back of another PT's video.
So you're saying that only because it was a good set of lunges? If it was a bad set of lunges,
I'd be like, whoa, really? That's not cool. That is not cool. That's a poor lunge. Take me off of that video. Basically, I
think I actually remember this video.
Maybe you might.
You was on the green.
I was on the green, on the Ashtray, with looking rather dishevelled after.
You were looking. Those were some good lunges.
Mate,
I would admit.
Yeah, sorry. It's actually he's a good lad. Arsenal. He's PDO working on the side. So yeah, I was in that video and I was fine with it, but
what if you weren't?
What if I wasn't? And ultimately, you can't go if you're choosing to film yourself doing a particular exercise, or if you're looking to kind of have some sort of footage gathered as a patron of the gym. you can't go around with get people to sign stuff and encroach on their time and go, oh, you need you to read this GDPR because I'm just about to film myself doing some toast to bar and you're in the shop.
Yeah, just leave me alone.
Yeah, exactly. You can't go around doing that. So unequivocally, you just can't do it, right?
Sorry, I just imagined like that one guy, like he's just trying to get pumped ready for his squat, like, his PR, and like he's mid squat.
Sorry, can you? I'm just going to do some hanging leg raises. I just want to send the technique to my coach. Could you sign this GDPR form?
Yeah, like, it's not practical.
Please, can you go away?
Yeah, but he wouldn't be that polite. I'm sure.
No, I'm sure he wouldn't be that polite. But ultimately, it's like there's this real lack of clarity, and it needs to go into terms and conditions of when you join a gym. Or when you go into, welcome back to the big drill. Keep drilling when we have batteries in the drill.
Yes, or the battery issues. But we are back.
So what were we saying? I was saying, because I was getting
people to go and sign up.
Getting people to sign the GDPRs. But basically, there needs to be a set of expectations set out by the gym, rules that are there to be adhered to by the patrons and also the personal trainers. I think it's just something that is getting a little bit out of hand, and there needs to be people need to be told what they can and can't do, and it needs to be unequivocally obvious and written down.
I just find it hard to believe that so in my opinion, maybe my opinion is completely wrong, but it would either be recording full stop is not allowed, or recording is allowed and try and be as nice as you can, but that's never going to happen.
Okay, so we can look at this another way. Let's say, for example, we have the gym is an environment which ultimately needs to be inclusive of all people.
Okay.
So if we're in a situation where there are people that want to film in a gym, that want to express and show people what they're doing, they need to be allowed to do that. But equally, there's people which have, and rightfully so, the wish for them not to be included in potential live streaming or videos which are going to be put on social media, or even videos where someone might be filming and then they're going to go home later and look at their technique and discuss it with their mate. Even that environment is still not acceptable for that person to be caught on that camera when and to be looked at later on, even if it's like a completely innocent way. It's not acceptable. And we need to make sure that gyms are open for people to feel comfortable coming into, of all genders, all races, all, abilities, all experiences.
If you're a human being,
you should be allowed
to. You are welcome.
Yeah, if you are human, you are welcome.
Sorry, other animals.
Yeah, I mean, some animals probably would be quite fun to have in the gym.
Bring your dog.
Not so much. But yeah, we need to create that environment, and that environment needs to be protected once it's created.
Okay.
And I think that having a free-for-all filming policy in a gym definitely has the potential to disrupt that feeling of inclusivity. It just puts people
So my question is, do you ban filming?
No, you don't ban filming, but what you do is you educate people on what's acceptable when you are filming, when you're not filming.
Now that's great, but it's still going to happen. So what do we do then?
Well, you can have, I suppose, if the gym is big enough, you could have like an area where you could film your technique. This is a filming area,
a dedicated area.
If you do, be aware, entering this area, you could be caught on camera. Not caught on camera. That sounds atrocious. But
caught on camera.
Caught on camera doing what?
What's that? You've been framed.
You've been framed.
That's what everyone's going to end up on.
Is that still going?
I think it is. Yeah, see, I'm having a bit of issue with that because, okay, let's say you got your own filming area.
Yeah.
But the leg extension isn't there. Just throw it random. And you want to record your leg extension.
For a start, I have no idea why someone would want to record a leg extension, but
impressive, isn't it?
Look how much my VMO is firing on the last 10 degrees of range of motion.
But you know what I mean.
I know what you're saying.
Maybe
yeah.
Lego session wasn't the best choice, but the point still stands.
The point stands. The point stands. Yeah, it's like what happens if you wanted to go in film something and it wasn't in the filming area. Look, I just think I think there needs to be.
Do we start banning people who aren't adhering to the policy?
I think we start banning people who don't put weights away as well. But whilst we're at it, but yeah,
might as well. So yeah, that's why that's the only thing where it's like, maybe it sounds nice to tell people don't record people, other people that don't want to be recorded, but the practicality side of it doesn't seem doable.
I think that if you can't manage the patrons of your gym as a manager in accordance to rules and regulations that will allow the gym to stay a welcoming environment for all people, then you ban it. Or if you can't manage it, you ban it.
Because I'm just thinking like, okay, I'm not allowed to record. So let's say someone brings their phone and they want to do a little class, a coaching app, but it's going to look like they might be recording.
I mean, yeah, I mean, coaching apps is another point of contention, really.
Oh, you got a bone to pick with that as well, have you?
Well, yeah, not really. Well, I have my own coaching app, so not really. No, not in its entirety. But
as long as my coaching app, it's okay. No, I'm joking.
No, I think that there's this idea of, and look, I think it's actually really good that people have the opportunity to have like a low entry point and have guidance on like some sort of exercise structure. But I think probably since during the pandemic, obviously a lot of people jumped on these coaching apps, or like, download today's session for your home workout, for example, which I actually genuinely think through the pandemic probably saved a lot of people's momentum.
Yeah,
that they and kept them. And I know people which are part of CrossFit boxes, and they had session plans that were obviously dropped down daily, and they went out and done them, and that's great, that's fine. And I think that it had a real role to play throughout the pandemic, throughout lockdown. I still think they have a role to play, but I just think the use of the role of a coaching app has to really be fully understood about what cohort of people are probably best suited to coaching apps. I wouldn't, for example, have a sit down with a new client who was an entry-level novice gym user and then send them away on a coaching app program and just, hope that on a whim and a prayer that they're going to be able to do all the exercises that are kind of like prescribed within the coaching app. Because what people tend to do is, and this happens inherently, is they look at a picture or a video, which is obviously a video, it's a coaching app these days, look at a video, they then do the exercise, and they're fucking miles apart. What the person's doing and what's on the video, there's two different things. And I've stepped in because, quite frankly, someone's safety is far more important than I want to see them doing it right. And I've gone, no, hang on a sec. See this? Turn yourself around. Engage like that. And they're like, oh yeah, that feels much better. It's like, yeah, now you're actually doing what's on the video. Yeah. Before, I think you were just doing some sort of free world interpretation of it. Yeah. Which wasn't that safe.
Freestyle version.
Freestyle.
It's okay.
You're just rolling with whatever you thought felt good, which is fine if it's safe, because actually movement is good, and you're going to move in the right direction if you're kind of like safe and if you're doing it correctly. But I do have a problem with the use of coaching app and sometimes people running with it when in fact it's not the most appropriate. They do need some more one-to-one time, or they do need to maybe go to classes where they can have a little bit more guidance in theory from instructors that are able to, you know, kind of like alter their technique, make sure they're doing the exercise correctly. So I mean, but they're great. They're a great platform to allow a different approach to training. I just think that, as with anything, as with any technology, there's the good bits and the bad bits, from the positive outcomes and the negative outcomes. There's always, you know, different angles and ways you can look at something. And I think that when you look at it from the point of view of someone who's actually coming on board at a novice level and an entry level, you could potentially do more damage than good, or you could just spin your wheels. You know, you don't understand about progressions, you don't understand about technique, form, you don't understand about, you know, what exercises work well with others so that they're in line with your objective and what you're trying to achieve. And yeah, critically, you have that kind of like risk factor. If, however, you are kind of intermediate, advanced, and you're in the position where you are executing instructions that you know you're executing correctly, that you've had experience with, you might have trained with people, you might have had personal training in the past. If you're in that position and you are utilizing a well-structured periodized training plan through a coaching app, and you know, and attend it, then that's brilliant. I think that holds a real purpose for people, and it is cost effective as well. Let's be honest, that's why people pay $7.99 a month for a coaching app rather than, you know, £50 a session or once a week.
That's why some people just go on YouTube and get a free video.
Yeah, go on YouTube, get a free video. But the connection you have and the execution that you have to that is somewhat questionable. Ultimately, the interactions that humans have, a personal trainer and the client, you know, from that point of view, can never be replaced. You'll never get that kind of like in the same room. Like when we were doing some of the big drills and we were on Zoom and stuff like that, it wasn't the same as when you and I sit in the same room.
Yeah, no, and I've had plenty of people tell me that they prefer in-person personal training. Just that, I don't know how to describe it, but it just feels better.
Yeah. And
maybe some people prefer just online stuff or whatever, but the interaction and the social side has its benefits too.
Yeah, and you could, I think, like so I always kind of like split these things into like a kind of a perspective of, is it IQ, is it information, is it knowledge, or is it EQ? Is it emotional connection, understanding, empathy, compassion, in a kind of like broad scheme of things? It could be to do with work, relationships, training, accomplishments in life, lack of fulfillment, whatever. You know, you kind of like, you can have emotional intelligence and bring that, and that's really that's what I do when I coach people. I bring my emotional intelligence to the session, because actually the information is like, you pick that up 12 times, you then put it down, you rest, and then you pick it up another 12 times.
Yeah, let's say in an hour session, you're not funneling in an hour's worth of information. There's only a period of that.
Yeah.
Before, and then now you've got a big gap.
But also once the information's been ascertained, it's like, what else are you bringing? Because otherwise then you might as well be using a coaching app,
so
right?
Let's say 15 minutes is used to deliver the information and execution. You've still got 45 minutes of open time
conversation that
you don't need to, but you could fill and be proactive with.
Yeah. And I think that's definitely where the coaching app will never take away one-to-one personal training. And I'm not sitting here saying, oh, I've lost clients to coaching apps, or, you know, coaching apps have stopped me gaining new clients. There's a lag time, so maybe someone will try a coaching app for like 3 months and realize, actually, this isn't getting me where I need to get. I'm still not attending to my nutrition as like I need to. I'm not consistent with my training. You know, I'm not emotionally bought into this.
Yeah.
So I need to get a personal trainer. So there might be a lag time of a few months, so people like spin their wheels for a while to see if they can actually get what they need out of the coaching app. But I'm not saying that a coaching app shouldn't exist. I'm just saying that they need to exist within a realm that's suitable for the person that's using it. You know, otherwise it just becomes a waste of time, or even worse, a risk of not necessarily executing the session plan as it needs to be from a safety point of view.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I mean, that's I think that's probably, like, for me, when you think about technology and I think technology in the gym is great.
Surprised you didn't get annoyed at the fact that people hold their phones on, like, they're just using their phones in the middle of taking up a whole machine.
Oh yeah,
that's
I mean, that
my
happens
biggest,
as well.
you know. But I am curious to know from you guys that are listening, what you guys think of coaching apps, if you're for them, against them.
Yeah,
and I'd also love to know if you think phones should be banned altogether in the gyms to stop recording and stuff. You might be a person that
not banning phones.
Why
just
not
banning recording?
But you can't. How do you do that without banning the phone itself?
Oh, true.
You know what I mean? So you kind of so I'd love to hear your thoughts on that. Any residual comments that you would like to?
No, I just think that when you have the idea of technology being used, you really do need to think about what it's being used for and how it's being used, and that it's being used for the right reasons. And I think, like, when you know, in the gym, with regards to using the phone, it's always like, what is the objective? What is this for? What's the purpose?
Yeah.
And obviously, people listen to, like, music on their phone, so that you know, when they're training, you're going
to take away their phones.
You can't take away their phones. You can't.
That's what I'm saying. It's very.
What are you going to do? Well, you're crazy. What are you going to do? As you're walking in the gym, you drop your phone off
You're going to put it in the locker, and then you got to bring out your iPod.
And then what? iPod. Whoa! Hang on.
Apple are going.
1996. Just
Apple are thinking, wait a minute, this is brilliant.
They want their iPod back, pal.
So no, I'd love to hear everyone's thoughts on that, though. But yeah, I'm glad we're back on the horse.
And
again.
actually, a question I've got. Sorry, just to interrupt, because I have a habit of doing that. But what I would like to know is if people feel like the people that have phones in the gym, they're filming it, does it make them uneasy, uncomfortable? If you're training and you see someone who's, you know, like, got their phone that is filming, how does that make you feel? Because ultimately, you know, we need to think about how, you know, I'm confident in a gym.
So, like, are you the type of person that just whatever, don't even care, don't even realize?
I'll go into a gym and I'll train, and if I see a couple of people filming, like, I'm not that bothered. It doesn't bother me. I'm probably the guy which will, and I have done this with some of the powerlifters before, when they've been filming, they've done a really good lift, right? I've ran in front of the round line in front of the camera, and I've gone,
probably thinking,
what a lift.
Now that PR doesn't count, because this guy just ran.
Will's just ran, and that's he's kind of like, but you know, but that's me. That's how I am. But we need to think about, we're in our, like, especially coaches or people which are confident to film powerlifters, CrossFitters, you know, those or Twitchers, streamer Twitchers, which those people which are confident in the gym environment. That's fine that they are confident. It's fine that we are confident, but we need to think about other people. If they're not that comfortable, if they're not that confident, we need to, like, be inclusive of our behaviors. Need to be inclusive behaviors rather than kind of like pitting ourselves, making people feel uncomfortable. And we need to be aware. That's the key. We need to be aware. If you're in the functional area and there's no one in there, cool, and it's empty,
do your thing.
Fine. If there's people in there, we need to adjust our behavior accordingly so that we remain inclusive within the gym.
So let us know your thoughts, guys. Before we wrap up, tell us, Will, where can we find you?
I'm sitting at my table.
In the virtual world, in the technological world.
Virtual technology. Social media. Will Hawkins Coaching, Facebook, Will Hawkins. That's it.
And for me, Ghazi.92 for Instagram. And
what about Twitchy?
And on Twitch, Janoobi with 3 O's, JANOOOBI.
Because 2 O's just wasn't enough.
It was taken, to be fair.
All right. Nice. You've been listening to The Big Drill. Until next time.
Take care, guys. Goodbye.
Hi, I'm Will.
And I'm Ghazi.
And thanks for tuning in to The Big Drill. You can also find us on these platforms here.
make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel. You can find him on Insta.
Ghazi.92.
And me, Will Hawkins Coaching. The links are in the description. And until the next time we drill deep, goodbye.
Bye.